Any questions? Or comments? Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, Phil, I'm sorry. Go ahead, ma'am.
I noticed that most of the houses, you did say at the end that they were one story.
No, not most of them, some of them.
Some of them are one story. I think the problem is, especially in Santa Clarita, everything's geared towards youth, youth, youth. As people grow older, they cannot do 2 stories. And they don't seem to have anything, and I've noticed there, whether it's low income, fixed income, whatever, for people who need housing, who need 1 story, who need easy access in case they need emergency vehicles coming to their homes.
Right. Of course, we have all public streets and so forth to all these homes. We early on decided to include 1-story houses because we wanted this whole wide breadth of ages to live in this community. I moved out of a 2-story house my wife and I lived in for 42 years to a 1-story house because we were tired of, we didn't need all the big house, but also the fact that we didn't want stairs. Well, talk to the city about low income.
But I thought all developers had to have a percentage of low income housing.
No, that's a city requirement, a city thing. Here's the issue. In today's real world, I understand what you're saying, and I wish we could answer that. Today's real world, before you put a shovel in the ground to build this project, you pay out about $60,000 to $70,000 in fees to the city, just for permission to build. Okay, there's over $18,000 per house required to give to the city for bridge and thoroughfare fees that will happen somewhere else. So all new housing has been given the burden of all these kinds of things. You know, it's really tough to get low-cost housing, and particularly in an area like Santa Clarita. You know, it's a beautiful area. Everyone wants to live here. No, really. I mean, I saw where in some magazine it was voted as one of the best places to live in Southern California. You've got great schools. You've got great, centers to shop. You've got wonderful police and fire. We know how good the fire is, don't we? We know how good they are. So, you know, all those things cost money. The 1-story house is mainly to attract young families and also for older empty nesters that don't want, maybe it's a move down. They have a big house and they want to sell it and move down to a smaller house, but they love the area, they want to stay here, they love the community, and we think we're building a community that they're going to really want to live in with all the activities. No low income.
I have
Oh, there you are.
3 questions, basically. Where are you in the area of Golden Oak or Golden Valley School? I'm not really 100% familiar with the...
Okay, we're in the Hart School District, okay?
No, but
And
your location. So this project is down the street from Golden Valley.
high school,
Yeah.
it's actually to the, I guess you'd call that kind of the northeast of there. We're at Sierra Highway
Yeah.
and Golden Valley Road.
Right. Well, so is the high school there.
It's a little further to the northwest. We're about probably a mile from the high school.
Are you?
La Cocina, yeah, right across the street.
Is there going to be a homeowners association with
Yes, there will.
And,
Oh.
and is there a proposal for doing a Melrose?
No,
The question was, is there a proposal to do a Melrose?
at this time, no.
What do
And
you-
we don't anticipate it.
But it's possible, right?
Well, because we're at a point now where we're developing all the costs, and when you start adding the $75,000 in fees, and you do all these things, you still have to be able to sell the houses at a price that people can afford to buy them. So it all comes down to a balancing of costs and so forth. The only time that you would put a Melrose in, or assessment district, maybe they call it now, Melton instead of Melrose, is that if you were doing some sort of major highway improvements of areas that were directed in the bridge and thoroughfare fee identification plans. Sierra Highway happens to be in the plans. And I think we would hope to get some sort of contribution by the bridge and thoroughfare fees for the signalization of Sierra Highway.
The only reason I ask about the Melrose is because it, ultimately, whoever buys the houses are gonna pay a lot more money in their property taxes. We defeated the Melrose out here many years ago. I was chairman of a
Right.
organization called SMART, and it was proposed by a developer, and it was very unethical the way the whole thing was going about. And we defeated it,
Yeah.
but
It's
right
not
now,
it's not a popular
no,
thing.
no, it's not. And I brought out everything about it, all the hidden little elements and everything else about it. And the thing is that had it gone through today, people would have like another $350 to their property tax. So it just keeps going up and up, and ultimately, people pay for it. So that's
Right.
why I ask. I'm very concerned about it.
Can you tell me more precisely where, in relation to the current, the intersection of Golden Valley and Sierra Highway, where your main entrance will come out of and into, where on Sierra Highway?
It's at an existing intersection, which you probably don't even know exists. It's at where Mad Road hits Sierra Highway, if you know where Mad Road is.
Is that where the access to the water towers is then?
No. No. What happens, we don't have a plan. Do you show the first plan up there, Ty?
And then also, can you, well, they're looking for that. Can you tell us how many units are going to be in each neighborhood?
50 to 60 in each neighborhood. There's a total right now of about 165 units.
And what's the total acreage?
Total acreage is just over 100 acres. Okay. Just so you know, this intersection, there is an existing break in the median divider. There's an existing left turn lane into Mad Road on the other side. And that's service the oil fields on the other side.
Yeah.
But it's a paved road, and it is official county road.
Right, I know where.
And it meets all the requirements that we need to have for distances between signals and intersections. So it meets all that criteria.
Sir, I live on Green Mountain Drive since 1973, which I've
Okay.
seen quite a few changes. And I live 2 houses below Mountain Pass on the right-hand side.
Okay?
And we had the excavations when we had the slide area with Horton at the time. So I'm quite concerned about slides. And I walk every day, and I walk down Green Mountain Drive, Golden Valley Road, and there is an area with a basin. I go back in and walk up the top of the mountain and come back on Green Mountain Drive. Now, well, I get confused when I go all the way on top of the hill. There is a tremendous depth of the mountainside on the mountain pass. I mean, the homes are on top, they had slide area. Do you come all the way, fill that all the way up and come up to that level?
No. Our property line is an extension of the rear property of the existing homes on Mountain Pass. So if you extend it up, and I'll tell you, next time you walk up there,
That's frequent.
you go, there's a gate up on the road that goes to the water tanks that's mostly open.
But the gate is, yeah, it's on a mountain pass. But
No,
I
no,
go
it's-
on
I'm
Green
talking about
Mountain
the-
Drive, I go up on Green Mountain Drive, there's a white path, and there's a chain link fence. I know there's a fence there, and I walk all the way up, and go all the way down to Golden Valley Road, and to come up again sometimes.
Yeah, there is if on the access road that goes up to the water tank, this road here. Here's the end of Mountain Pass. The existing road goes over here, comes up, and comes up to the water tanks.
Are you aware there was a proposal to have a recycling plant
Yes.
in that area? Is that where you come all the way out to that
No,
area?
the recycling plant was far below. It was
below
down
that.
towards where you get on the first on-ramp to the
It
14
was that
freeway.
far down, yeah.
That was far down. That's down in that big hole that's down there. And no, and we're happy it's gone, so.
Just a question, do you level all the mountainside?
No.
And fill up the valleys in there and all that?
We will, basically, the main ridge, which is where the water tanks are, and as it goes over to Mountain Pass, we don't touch,
Oh, okay,
okay?
thanks very much.
But what I wanted to say, next time you walk up there, there is right here, there is a gate that's just a piece of pipe that goes across gate that's open, and that's where our property line is. That's where you enter our property. So,
A quick question. What is the elementary school district?
I'm sorry,
Which is the elementary school district in that area?
which school district?
The elementary.
Elementary.
It's right on the border with Sulphur Springs and either Saugus or Newhall.
Yeah, I should know that, but I can't remember.
It's right on the border.
Are you the builder?
There's a gentleman over here that liked the microphone. Oh, so who's next?
I don't know. I have
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't realize you had it.
Okay.
Please.
Are you the builder or just a developer?
I'm the landowner and developer.
And the builder?
We will bring in a partner to be a builder.
Do you know who the builder is yet?
No,
Okay.
but it'll be a quality builder.
A local one or one that we know out here?
Are
Like
there any local builders anymore?
Well,
I don't know.
Like, I mean, is it going to be a big one like KB or?
No, it won't be Kaufman Road, I guarantee
Okay,
you.
nothing, okay.
Will there be a parking lot at the end of Mountain Pass where the water tower is for the park?
Had we been able to acquire that property, yes, there would have been.
So there will not be.
We don't own the property.
Are you going to try to acquire it?
We're still trying, but it's been very difficult.
So there's a possibility that they could drive up Green Mountain, Mountain Pass to the water tower and park?
No, you never get to the water tower. We were proposing to have a, when you come through those gates, if you ever go through, they're locked all the time, but the gate at end of Mountain Pass, there's a flat area and there's a water pump station
Right.
off to the left as you go in. That's where we were proposing to have a parking lot for people to come up and park and then walk into the park. We were not proposing to have a road go through, except emergency access road and trail that would connect through to our project below.
So there's no way that Mountain Pass would become a road for people to go visit the park?
We don't have control of that property. If we get control of it, that would happen.
So then Mountain Pass could become a busy thoroughfare? of
That
people going
pass
to the
would
park?
still be a dead end, would not be a thoroughfare.
But they could park their car and then go through the gate?
No, they would
Get
park
it.
their car inside the gate. They would, where the gate is now at the end of Mountain Pass, that gate would be removed. You would drive in, and there would be a parking lot once you drive in there, and no road going through. And that we would propose an emergency access only walk and drive that would connect the parking lot to the street below on our property. Okay? And
So there is a possibility people could get off the freeway, drive up Green Mountain, go through Mountain Pass, and then end up at the park.
They can end up at the park. They can't go through the park.
Well, parking lot, park.
Public park. We don't think there would be many people that would do that, but who knows? It's a public park. Remember, one of the reasons for these emergency accesses, and we're proposing two of them. We're proposing two emergency accesses for fire and other emergency vehicles. One at the end of Green Mountain. It would be pedestrians only, but would, case of emergency, could be a bollard or a gate pulled and become a way out. And the same at the end of Mountain Pass. I don't know if you were involved or were there when we had the big fire, not this last one, the one before, that burnt one of the houses up here, burnt that. There was no way out for the Princess Park people to go except down Green Mountain. It was a disaster. This would alleviate that and give emergency access out of the existing subdivision through our community. That's the main reason for it. But we're not proposing any through vehicular access. We are open to the public as far as pedestrians. And the trail around the community is for that purpose. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's still a situation that you're developing with all the approvals and all that, but just for, I've met you a couple times, one of the people that butt up next to his property. I'm sure all of us on that street.
Is that Matt?
Yeah.
Oh, the lights I can't see, I'm sorry.
With the best of your ability, could you give us like a rough timeline that either one you'd like to see certain events happen, whether it's, grading work to, development, like, is there any like kind of timeline that you're trying to shoot for or that we could pre-plan or, prepare for?
We would like to go as fast as possible. We have certain hurdles that we have to get by. And by the way, we would welcome any of you people to contact the city if you're favorable to this project, to try and encourage them to make it go quicker. But as soon as we file the map, which we're basically doing now, then that will be determined if an environmental impact report will be required, which it probably will, and how involved of an environmental impact report is going to be required, analysis. That process could take a year to 18 months. And the city won't take any action on approval until the environmental impact report is filed and approved. They approve it. And of course that gets circulated for the public to review as well. And so, I don't see us starting, if you will, a shovel to the ground for probably 18 months. I would like to say sooner. Okay, but in reality, that's the kind of time frame we have to deal with on this. Matthew happens to have a house that backs up to, fortunately he's not as bad as some of them, but he's pretty close to being it, the big landslide that's there. And our project will resolve that and stabilize that and secure it indefinitely. What happened was the landslide, there's an ancient landslide under the houses that goes clear back up in here to the next street up. And when these houses were built in the mid-60s, the technology wasn't there for finding and resolving those geological conditions. And so they built the houses over the top. And what's happened now with the rains and over time, those landslides are moving. And you saw what happened over by Golden Valley Road. So we want to make sure it's done right. So, yes, sir.
Southern California occasionally is caught in a drought area. Where do you propose to get the water to fill 150 bathtubs every day?
Well, we just, I guess, got to tap into the reservoirs now, release some of the water. But that's a good question. The fact is that this will be an environmentally friendly development, that the houses will have the latest technologies in conservation, and the landscaping will all be required to be drought-tolerant material and water less water use to require their life.
Will there be an additional water tank, or
The water tank that exists up there are sufficient, and they said they can handle our project.
so there will not be a well dug?
No, it comes from the Santa Clarita Water Division, the 2 water tanks that are up there. As a matter of fact, we had offered them a site if they wanted to expand their storage, and they declined. So that would have given us 0 impact on water if we had been able to provide them a site for another 1 or 2 water tanks. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for you. I have been walking my dogs for 49 years up there in the hills. Now that park, is it going to be low? You know that I have to climb hills to get up again?
Well, it's lower than the top of Mountain Pass, so you would walk down to it from Mountain Pass.
Yeah.
From Green Mountain, you will walk about 40 foot in elevation over about 1,000-foot long trail. So it's basically, the trails are handicap accessible. So,
Oh, okay.
to answer your question, if you want to go and take the trail, in fact, this trail is basically level all the way around, has some fall. But if you went down the trail that goes down from the park down, I call it the Canyon Trail, that is a steep trail.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And takes you down to the bottom.
Right. I've seen that. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I think we're used up our time here, but is there one last question, or?
I have a question. Do you do more filling than you do excavating?
No, it's a balance.
Yeah,
It's a balance. We will not haul any
the
dirt.
sliding we had on Green Mountain Drive was on my home, and it started there, so I'm fearful of that. Because I still get cracks in my house and in the back because of all the excavation they did at the time. But they didn't fill it back enough, they left it open.
Yeah. Actually, where the landslide is not in a fill condition, it's in a cut condition. You know where the landslide fell off, those houses? Those houses are all in a cut condition. What it is, right here is where the landslide is, okay? The current landslide. There was a natural knoll there that was cut to provide for those houses. There is a slope that's filled, manufactured, all along here that ended into that knoll that was a natural slope. I always thought that was a landslide from a fill slope, but it wasn't. It was a landslide of a natural slope because those houses were actually cut to get the pad.
I have to admit, I'm still a little bit confused where everything is. I only see it from the way I walk and look down. And the mountain pass, from where I always look over, there are several houses that were condemned for a while that people couldn't get in because the hillside behind them was sliding. And I look over there, and it looks extremely high and real close to the property lines there.
Yeah, yes.
You built behind that, or you're further?
We're gonna-
I understand you're further away from that to the water tower.
Behind that slope that you're talking about will be the public park that's filled in the canyon and filled up against that slope and fixes all those. Yeah,
I expected with that kind of rain, something would really happen.
yeah. Well, we fill for them, and Matt can tell you. Okay. Thank you.